steadfast commitment to our historic mission. The past few days have brought moments of profound sadness and introspection. Today we speak with clarity, conscience, and resolute sense of duty to the people of South Africa. The ANC joins the nation and the broader progressive movement in mourning the passing of former Deputy President of the Republic and of the African National Congress, Comrade David Dabede D.D. Mabuza. This is not only a loss for the ANC, it is a national loss. Comrade Mabuza embodied disciplined, humble, and people-centered leadership. A son of the soil, born of rural hardship, he never detached himself from the lived realities of ordinary South Africans. His leadership was quiet but effective, grounded in the ethos of care, dialogue, and delivery. We remember his powerful and principled declaration, I quote, "No child must be denied quality education because he or she is poor and living in a farm," close quote. This was not mere rhetoric. It was a conviction rooted in personal experience and a lifelong commitment to the struggle against inequality. From his time as Premier of Mpumalanga to his leadership in the union buildings, Comrade Mabuza served with strategic calm, unity-building focus, and institutional wisdom. His election as Deputy President of the ANC in 2017 marked a critical moment of renewal and stabilization within the movement. As Deputy President of the Republic, he led interministerial committees focused on land reform, rural and township economic revitalization, and accelerated service delivery. As Deputy President, he also assumed the responsibilities for the South African National AIDS Council, work related to the plight of military veterans, and a host of other issues assigned to him by the President. Internationally, he represented South Africa with quiet dignity and a firm strategic hand. Comrade Mabuza preferred action over attention, solutions over slogans. He was a unifier in moments of deep political uncertainty, a stabilizing force whose legacy will grow in clarity and appreciation with time. The ANC salutes this loyal cadre and faithful patriots who worked with kings but never lost the common touch. The African National Congress acknowledges the sentencing of the assassin of Comrade Comrade Makaka, the assassin by the name of Sibusisa Ncengwa, to 25 years in prison for the murder of Comrade Cindy Makaka, the former Secretary General of the ANC Youth League and a dedicated member of our movement. This sentencing reaffirms the principle that no act of political violence will go unpunished. While no amount of punishment can bring back the life of a revolutionary servant of the people, this ruling sends a strong message that our democracy will not tolerate violence as a means of silencing any voices. Comrade Makaka embodied a generation of courageous youth leaders, and we reiterate our unwavering commitment to eradicating all forms of political violence, safeguarding the right to life, and honoring the legacy of those who sacrificed their lives in service of our national democratic revolution. As we enter Mandela Month, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the ideals of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa. Ideals that guided Utata Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela and that continue to animate the soul of our movement and nation. We call on all structures of the ANC, organs of people's power, civil society organizations, faith-based institutions, and all South Africans to honor Madiba not merely in memory but through deeds, by deepening public service, advancing social solidarity, and renewing the spirit of Ubuntu. Madiba believed in humility, forgiveness, discipline, justice, and unity. His legacy reminds us that leadership is not about position but about service, especially to the poor, vulnerable, and marginalized. Let Mandela Month be a time of national renewal. Let it be marked by practical acts of compassion, cleaning communities, mentoring youth, protecting the elderly, and upholding the law. Let us each be the difference that Madiba envisioned when he said, I quote, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to live of others," close quote. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter, a foundational document of our struggle that continues to guide the moral and political compass of our democracy. While the main commemoration event initially planned for 12 July has been postponed due to the passing of Comrade David Mabuza, our former Deputy President and the Deputy President of the country, the ANC remains committed to a robust program that will honor the brave men and women who convened in Kliptown in 1955. The national dialogue process as part of the National Government of National Unity is a continuation of this spirit, building consensus, listening to the people, and shaping a shared future. We remain resolute that our democracy must always be rooted in the voices and aspirations of the people. Over the past year, the ANC has accelerated its renewal program with greater agency. We have taken bold steps to enforce organizational discipline, combat corruption, and rebuild public trust. More than 92,000 members have completed the Political Education Foundation course, a clear sign that cadre development and ideological grounding are taking root across the organization. We are rebuilding a principled movement, one that places service above self and integrity above convenience. We are building the African National Congress steady, root and branch. We remain steadfast in strengthening the state, improving service delivery, and restoring the legitimacy of the public institutions through ethical leadership and decisive governance. From the 24th to 28th July, we will host the Liberation Movement Summit in Gauteng, to be attended by Frelimo Mozambique, SWAPO Namibia, ZANU-PF Zimbabwe, Chama Chama Pendus Tanzania, and NPLR Angola. This strategic engagement will reaffirm our collective commitment to African unity, development, gender equality, and resistance against neocolonialism and imperial domination. In that spirit, the ANC expresses its deepening concern at the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Palestine. We call for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian relief, and the restoration of basic dignity to the Palestinian people. As the ANC, we stand firm in solidarity with all oppressed people around the world. We remain committed to improving the lived realities of our people through transparent and responsive governance. We commend the Department of Human Settlement for launching a digital housing application system that expands access, enhances transparency, and reduces corruption. We further welcome the acceleration in the issuance of title deeds, affirming the dignity of ownership and security for thousands of families. We also applaud the decisive action by SAPS in dismantling a fraudulent UIF claims syndicate. We thank the Minister of Labor and Employment for ensuring that this investigation is followed by systemic reforms. Let it be known, corruption will not be tolerated. Crime will not go unpunished. Public funds belong to the people, not to criminal syndicates or dishonest officials. We are encouraged by gains in higher education, including expanding access to universities and TVET colleges, record numbers of graduates, and the inclusion of the University of Johannesburg in the top 500 global rankings. We recognize the role of NSFAS and SETAs in improving access and skills development. However, we do not turn a blind eye to persistent challenges, including administrative inefficiencies, infrastructure taps, and governance failures in some institutions. The ANC is determined to work with stakeholders to address these issues decisively. As the ANC, we have noted and addressed the matters that arose that affect the Department of Higher Education. With regard, in particular, the matter of the SETAs. The legal framework and ministerial discretion with regard to the Skills and Development Act of 97 of 1998 empowers the Minister of Higher Education and Training in consultation with the National Skills Authority to appoint members of the accounting authorities of sector education and authorities SETAs, including chairpersons, Section 11. Importantly, nowhere in the Act or accompanying regulation does it require the establishment of an independent panel to advise or execute such appointments. The Minister is fully empowered to perform these functions independently. In an act of enhanced governance, in a sincere attempt to promote transparency and broad consultation, the Minister chose to constitute a voluntary unpaid advisory panel staffed by civil servants and an outside chairperson. This was done in good faith to ensure that merit-based and impartial guidance informed the decisions in the national interest. This extra governance measure, though commendable in principle, has unfortunately been weaponized by some political actors. The Minister approached a respectable advocate, Terry Mutau, Senior Counsel, to chair the voluntary advisory panel. However, his appointment was never formally concluded due to procedural delays, including the lack of formal engagement through the department's legal services. Despite this, his name was mistakenly included in a list shared with Parliament during a period of heightened legislative activity. Crucially, when appearing before Parliament, the minister clearly stated that Advocate Mutau had not attended any of the panel's meetings. This is a decisive piece of information which directly rebuts any allegation of deceit or misrepresentation. Had the minister intended to fabricate or exaggerate Advocate Mutau's role, she would not have made this transparent and clarifying statement. This detail proves that there was no intent to mislead Parliament, and certainly no malice. Upon becoming aware of the error, the minister promptly apologized to Parliament and issued a formal written apology to Advocate Mutau, personally and in public, acknowledging the mistake and correcting the record. We reject in the strongest terms the Democratic Alliance opportunistic laying of criminal charges against the minister. The DA's conduct is not grounded in legal principle, but in performative politics. While gang violence and systemic inequality devastate communities in the Western Cape, the DA will rather misdirect police resources toward a political vendetta. In order to preserve the integrity of the process in terms of the sitters, the minister has undertaken to withdraw the entire list of proposed sitter board chairpersons, regardless of merit, in order to preserve the integrity of the process and rebuild confidence in the skills development sector. The minister has decided to restart the process afresh in full compliance with legal provisions and without the influence of the prior panel. Invite broader sectoral participation, including business, labor, and student organizations in the spirit of cooperative governance, a process we fully support as the African National Congress. We have advocated for Minister Nkabane to double her efforts on the following: improved institutional funding allocations to TVET colleges and universities, stabilization of NSFAS disbursements, expanded investment in historically disadvantaged universities, including Fort Hare, UNISA and Limpopo, while UNISA and Limpopo have grown in national standing. Reforms in bursary management systems, science and technology research, and renewed focus on TVET infrastructure. Our final observation is that the SETA ecosystem is known to harbor entrenched business interests, many of whom aggressively lobby for influence and financial opportunity. We caution the public to examine who benefits from destabilizing the appointment process and how often legitimate governance efforts are obstructed by hidden agendas. No law in this regard has been broken, in our view, and no lie was told. But nonetheless, ministers get to be subjected, in terms of the checks and balances of our constitution, on such matters, to Parliament, where they account. Can it be through the Ethics Committee, where they account? Ministers get to be subjected to Chapter 9 institutions in relation to the public protector. An error was made and owned. That's what we have come across. Accountability was demonstrated by the minister. Corrective action has been taken. Corrective action has been taken. The process has started afresh, and we support a transparent process in this instance that include, among others, taking into account all sectors. We believe that the minister must continue to serve the people of South Africa with integrity, humility, and a deep commitment to the values of democratic governance. We call on all stakeholders, business, labor, students, and civil society to support the reset process and recommit to building a strong, ethical, and forward-looking post-school education system. The African National Congress takes seriously the recent allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. These allegations touch on the very integrity of the criminal justice system and the constitutional obligation of the state to protect all South Africans. We call upon President Cyril Ramaphosa to act with the seriousness and urgency this matter demands. The ANC reaffirms its commitment to accountability, non-interference in law enforcement, and the full protection of whistleblowers, investigators, and officers of the law. We must all work to ensure that the rule of law stands above any undue interference, intimidation, or abuse of power as the African National Congress. We support fully the statement of the President that this matter is receiving attention, and the President will fully attend to this particular matter as it borders on lawlessness, projecting us as a banana republic. But at the same time, it is important that all those matters that have been raised are attended to, and we bring stability in terms of law enforcement in our country as we pursue efforts in the fight against crime in our country. We must raise an uncomfortable but necessary issue, the rise of unethical behavior within sections of the media and the corrosive impact it is having on South Africa's democracy. The ANC is gravely concerned by the growing pattern of what can only be described as disturbing phenomenon where certain journalists are no longer reporting the news, but are actively involved in shaping political agendas, settling scores, and waging battles on behalf of those they align with or represent. This is not journalism. It is not political warfare waged under the banner of the Fourth Estate. We respect media freedom. We fought for it, but that freedom must never be confused with impunity. The South African public has a right to expect truth, balance, and accountability from its media, not scripted propaganda manufactured in the corridors of political agendas. The ANC calls on the Press Council, SANEF, media ombuds institutions, journalism schools, and editors forums to act decisively to confront this creeping ethical rot. If they do not, they risk presiding over the wholesale collapse of media credibility in the eyes of ordinary South Africans. As the African National Congress, we stand open to engage with the media in all platforms, as this is a two-way process, as the media seek the truth, to give the media what it deserves. To be clear, we are not at war with the media. We are at war with misinformation and disinformation, with the manipulation of facts, and with the systematic erosion of journalistic ethics that undermines the public's right to know and distorts democratic discourse. The ANC will continue to engage openly and transparently with ethical journalists and independent media houses, but we will not remain silent in the face of a growing information disorder that undermines our movement, sows division in society, and weakens the institutions that sustain our democracy. If South Africa is to thrive, the media must rise to its own moment of renewal. The African National Congress will speak for itself, not through faceless sources. A faceless source cannot be a credible source to pronounce on ANC positions. The ANC remain available at all material times to engage with colleagues in the media on all matters, small and big, controversial, difficult conversations with the media. It is a two-way process of respect that in terms of that particular process, it is important that we need to keep engaging with respect as we did all the time throughout the years. As we reflect on the life of Comrade Didi and Mark Mandela Month, we are reminded that real leadership is not about visibility. It is about consistency, character, and care. The ANC recommits itself to the cause of ethical leadership, clean governance, and the ideals of the Freedom Charter. We do not fail the people who place their trust in us. We dare not betray the sacrifices of those who came before. We are the movement of Tambo, Sisulu, Mandela, Maxeke, Plaatje, Nokwe, and Winnie Mandela. We serve the people. We advance the revolution and we move forward as a collective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG.